I'm not so sure, because Optus had already committed to deploying a HSPA network to cover many of the areas where this WiMAX network will cover. So it's potentially just enabling some more maybe fixed applications, some more capacity. So in that sense, it will increase competition.
But you're doubting the ability of that WiMAX network to deliver the kind of speeds that are being talked about as well.
Only to deliver over long ranges. It's difficult to deliver 12 megabits per second with any technology. So there will definitely be a place where we know ADSL, it falls down very quickly after a few kilometres. And you put a WiMAX base station, you're then going to be able to extend to a fair degree. But to deliver 12 megabits at 20 kilometres from a base station in 5.8 megahertz spectrum, it's going to be pretty tough.
Sure. Yeah. Let's look at the moves to move towards a tender process for a next generation fibre network, or it could arguably be another technology, I suppose, across the country. What do you think will be the outcome, Maurie, of the recently appointed expert panel to investigate this process?
I'm not sure. Probably I'm the best person to answer that question, because I'm not close to the process. But I think appointing an expert panel, I can certainly not knock that. There needs to be some careful evaluations, technology decisions we're talking about here, and trade-offs between alternative wireline versus wireless applications are not easy to be made. Some are driven by purely commercial and business case, and in others it's about being equal access to the whole community. And I think from a policy point of view, that can be very important.
Right. Paul, what's the Nokia Siemens view on fibre to the premises or fibre to the node? Is that a worthwhile technology to be going with in a case like Australia's?
I'm not across the business case itself for Australia, but in terms of a raw technology, absolutely. Fibre to the node, fibre to the home, even better if the business case allowed it. Of course, the closer to the home you bring the fibre, the more expensive it is. So it's a question of economics. At what point is the cost benefit trade off? Where's the break even? But fibre to the node as a technology, it's a great technology. It'll deliver a great service.
Is it? There's discussion to ensure that should there be any fibre to the node network, that it was simply capable in a future upgrade to get to the home or the office itself as well. Or perhaps there's even been suggestions to be able to roll it out into rural areas, down roads and to farms. Is that feasible?
It's really just a question of money. Yeah. Laying fibre is expensive. Laying fibre to farms is extremely expensive. Would it deliver a great end product? Obviously, it would deliver a fantastic product, but is it commercially viable? It's hard to see.
Nathan, we hear a lot in Australia about the need for a reasonable return for these kind of investments, yet one of the proposals, the G9 on the table, is talking about running it purely on a wholesale basis with what appears to be a much reduced return that they're chasing compared to the Telstra plan that has been bandied about. What is a reasonable return on this kind of thing?
I probably wouldn't comment on that. You've got to ask the people that are putting up the money, which is the key issue here, because with the G9 proposal, it's obviously the banks that are going to be putting in the money, so it's getting a rate that they're happy with. Whereas with Telstra, it's Telstra putting in the money, so they're going to want a rate that they're happy with. But yeah, in terms of a figure.
What about this process? Are you expecting it to flush out some new players and some new proposals? For example, here in Singapore, we've got no less than 12 consortia bidding for what more or less is a similar project. There is talk of others in Australia. What's your view?
Well, I'm sure many people will examine the business case and whether it makes sense. There doesn't seem to be any more commitment of public funds, which could deter people. So in Singapore, one of the differences is there's an understanding that the government will support. I'm sure things that this will come out in some of the details as we go along, but I think it will really depend on what's available and what are the conditions.
Maurie, are you anticipating a fairly quick resolution to this fibre to the node situation and an announcement of a rollout sometime in the next 6 months?
The point that I'd like to make here is that the figure of 12 megabits per second is being bandied around as being a broadband speed. Well, that happens to be what's acceptable or perhaps projected today. Yesterday, hell, if we were getting 256 kilobits per second or 512 kilobits per second, we thought that was pretty good. In Hong Kong, there are providers today that are delivering 100 megabits per second or a gigabyte per second to some of the communities there. So where is the Australian market going in the future? Are we going to put in an architecture that can actually support higher and more advanced speeds as the world moves on? We don't want to be stuck with a technology selection that's going to limit our options for the future.
It's a good point, Paul. Are there technologies that the expert panel should be educating themselves on when they're considering the various proposals that they may be viewing?
Well, all technologies have their roadmaps for capability, be that wired or wireless. In the wireless world, of course, the HSPA networks, the 3G networks, have a roadmap to faster and faster speeds. WiMAX have similar roadmaps. In the fixed world, technology is developing all the time. So, an architecture like the fibre to the node, which has a mix of fibre and copper that's being used, has a roadmap to some very high speeds that are going into the home. I won't guess the numbers. It depends on which particular flavour of the technology you're looking at. Of course, if as you raised before, you talk about really fibre to the end premise, then the speeds are higher. But again, it's a function of economics and the business case and the application that you're trying to build.
I guess across all of this, the point is that to really talk about this, we need more details, don't we?
That's
So it's all a numbers game, and I guess the country is moving towards some kind of resolution. Broadband certainly in the mindset, so it seems to be mainstream politics today, and I don't presume it will be going away anytime soon. Guys, thanks very much for your time drawing some light as much as we can on this today, and we'll hope to catch you next time. Thanks for joining us.